Hey, Special Chronicles listeners, I'm Daniel Smrokowski, founder of Special Chronicles, coming to you at the start of the program to invite you to join our community and support our 2026 giving campaign to keep amplifying voices of individuals with special needs. Your gift powers studio operations, production, and inclusive media. Donate today at specialchronicles.com/give. If you're watching the video podcast, you can scan the QR code above Bill. Yeah, White Whale Bill is pointing. And then click on donate. And yeah, let's get the show going.
This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. Lend my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time we stand. It starts with a voice.
Welcome back to the Special Chronicles podcast. I'm Daniel Smrokowski, host and founder of Special Chronicles. And today we're diving into the world of inclusive housing and employment. Our returning guest, he was on 5 years ago, Bill Dwyer, CEO of Helping Hand, is back to share exciting updates from the new models of homes that promote independence to programs preparing students for meaningful careers. Before we jump in, a quick note: support the Special Chronicles 2026 Giving Campaign. Your give helps us produce weekly episodes, share inclusive stories, and amplify voices that deserve to be heard. Give now at specialchronicles.com/give. If you're listening to us on audio, the link will be in the description below. If you're watching the video podcast, you can scan the QR code above Bill there. And don't forget to follow the Special Chronicles podcast on specialchronicles.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. Every bit helps to grow the inclusion revolution. Please put your virtual hands together as we welcome Bill back on Special Chronicles. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Bill.
Been almost 5 years since the last time we talked.
Yeah. Well, and you probably didn't hear what's in my headphones, but the audience was applauding.
Oh, so that's good. Bring that home with me.
Yeah.
I also might get my wife to do that too.
Yeah. So it's good, and I think what's different about the last time that you were on is now we're adding video.
That's nice. Could be good, could be bad. I don't know if they like looking at me.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer audio. I know, but I've heard from some of our listeners that before the watch.
Now we got to dress up.
Yeah, I know. Like, I had to put a jacket on. But it's. But yeah, it's good. I'm glad that when you reached out on LinkedIn
Well, I listen to your stuff all the time. You always got good speakers. I like you and your girlfriend talking.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. It's insightful to me and gives me the ideas for what I want to do at Helping Hand.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's something 17 years ago that I didn't, when it was just me sharing my story and then my friends sharing, that I didn't think there would be a need. And even now, 17 years later, I think there's even
a greater need.
There's still a greater need now.
You're right.
To have.
I think the voices need to get out there. I watched back our last 5 years ago, we talked about, and it really was about connecting others to people with disabilities.
Yeah.
It was that change of how you think. It's not about people with disabilities need to get into the world. It's the world needs to accept people with disabilities. Yeah. And this is a great way of doing that. It's entertaining, it's educational. We need to connect with everybody.
Yeah. That's a powerful way that I've heard from a number of listeners, that yes, we have people from within our disability community that listen, but I found, and especially lately, a lot of listeners that might not have any connection can hear firsthand from particularly our intellectual disability community. And yeah,
the topics are are so different.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you talk about leadership, you talk about
Jobs.
that you talk about people with disabilities, but you also just talk about what everybody should want to know about.
Yeah.
It could help anybody.
Yeah. And that's what I think is really powerful, is that when people heal, then people will learn that those of us with disabilities are just like yourself and just like others, that's where the barriers break down.
It's right. You know, when I look back when I was younger, I have dyslexia. And so a lot of people are like, well, back in the day, if you have dyslexia, you're not going to be able to do much in your life. You can't read, you can't look at numbers. And now I run a business. Yeah. So it's possible for anybody, and we all got things, and we all got to work through them to reach our value.
Yeah. Something to that point, something that my dad, who dropped me off today, he helps out on the business side, the behind the scenes at Special Chronicles, and I feel like these cables can't take it up here. But something that my dad always tells, like, when I go out and if I'm giving a keynote or I'm speaking, a lot of times something that my dad will add to the conversation is he always tells people about that everybody has strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, I agree. You know, just like you said, your dad helps you with business. Being a CEO of a company, I have 8 executives that do things better than I do.
Yeah.
And then you think of the 300 employees that I have, so many of them do better things than I do. And that's important. I have to find, first I got to recognize my weaknesses, and then I got to find people who can help me. And then together we're all going to be amazing people.
Yeah.
Everybody's like that.
Speaking to that point, we'll let the fourth wall down just before when we were getting everything set up. You know, IT guy had come in because we had to get connected to this virtual studio.
Yeah, I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah, I know, me too. And even like, even with our website team at Special Chronicles, like if something goes down, like, or even when we were putting a new donation form on our website, and I didn't know how to do that, but
you find people that do.
We find people that know.
And then your value comes out, their value comes out.
Yeah.
And that's when change happens.
Yeah.
That's when transformation happens and things become amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll try to put a link in the show notes to I created a page with the 2-part podcast that we did 5 years ago.
Because we talked a lot that time.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do it again. I don't know.
We're going to add this conversation to that page on specialchronicles.com/helpinhandil, all one word. If our listeners go there, then they can go back and listen.
Excellent.
But of course, we want our listeners to go back and listen. But can you sum up and briefly tell us about your backstory of how you came to Helping Hand?
Oh, yeah. I got a long story and a short story, so I'll try to go with the shorter one first.
And if I think we go into a little bit more detail in that the last time that you were on, so our listeners can go listen
to the longer parts.
The longer part.
Yeah. So I worked with at-risk kids for majority of my career, and then I had an opportunity to come to Illinois because I'm out in Indiana. That's where I live, is Indiana, and work at another organization, and for the first time learn the value of people with intellectual disabilities. I was a little bit slow on the uptake, trying to see how to help people and connect with people that way. After I worked there for about 5 years, I was reached out by the board here at Helping Hand, and I had about 6 months of interviews, had to do presentations and a lot of conversations. And then they made their choice to connect me to their mission. I think that's super important, is that you got to make sure that the right person is connected to the right company. you don't want to join a company and just try to change it. You want to bring what you're good at and see what it's good at and see what happens with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've been here now a little over 8 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Yeah, it's neat. I think I might have, I forgot what exactly I showed 5 years ago, because although this is I don't know, episode 800 and something.
Yeah,
I forgot.
you had a lot in between.
Yeah. And so, but I it's something that I think I might have shared, and I don't know if I shared with you this on air, or maybe I shared with you off air.
Sure.
But that so after I graduated in college in December 2012, my mom found a helping hand, and I was a client with the employment services here.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, so having some experience with the services that I can speak to exactly how beneficial the services of helping.
That was, how long ago was that?
That was, I want to say 2014.
2014. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot
it
has
was
changed
right
here
around,
at Helping Hand in the world of employment since then.
Yeah, which we'll get into in the second half
Okay.
of our conversation, because we've that's another series that when we've taken a lot of the podcast episodes now and developed different series based on different topics, and so I'll unify the work
Smart.
focuses on inclusive employment. But before we get into that, that's what's called a teaser for listeners to keep tuning in to the program. But the first is on independent living and inclusive housing. I was just telling you before we went on air, and I'll let our listeners know, my content producer and I just had a production meeting last week, and we because she helps like her daughter has Williams syndrome, and so she helps she also started the Special Olympics cheerleading program, and so she helps to make sure like that our content that we've got a wide way. Like that's why when you as a listener, hear about all the content that we have,
keep it interesting and keep everyone connected. Yeah.
So it's helpful to have that. It's a small team, but a team to help a
mighty team.
Yes. And so one of the things we're talking about was inclusive housing and independent living, because that's not a topic that we've really dived into on this podcast, but that's more important now for myself, my girlfriend, and for many of us. I know one of your Helping Hand clients was on my basketball team last year, and,
that's right.
And he was, I think he's in a different home now, but he
changed his.
He moved.
Yeah,
he moved.
But he's still with us. But he
moved
to a different home.
Yeah. In fact, I just saw a video that you guys put out
because he works at ComEd.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so this I'm gonna read just a little bit of an intro, just kind of because this we might even take a little snippet of this and rebroadcast.
Make a commercial.
One segment, for another episode as well. But you're listening to Special Chronicles, where today's focus is on inclusive housing, safe, affordable homes where people with intellectual and developmental disabilities can live independently with the supports they choose. Inclusive housing takes many forms, but every approach shares one goal: expanding real choices. Our guest today brings a unique perspective to that mission. So let's dive in, because this when you Bill brought up, and our guest today is Bill Dwyer, CEO of Helping Hand. When you brought up that topic, it and my content producer, we just talked about that it was perfect timing, and so Of course, we've got listeners that tune in across the country, across the globe. And so hopefully if our listeners are listening in New Zealand or England or across the country, they can find a local
organization that cares about that.
Organization, which I'm sure. But we're going to speak directly to our local listeners.
We'll go to New Zealand next time.
Yeah, we'll go to New Zealand next. Who knows? Maybe sometime we can take
if those donations come in big enough, we can go to New Zealand.
We can go to New Zealand. Yes. We've got a big goal for our fund drive. So hopefully, if I'll, it's not just about taking a vacation. It's
work.
It'll
work. Be work.
Yes. Yeah. But with that, before we get into the new models of homes, can you because this is something that I just recently discovered as one of the services that Helping Hand has. Can you introduce this service that you have? That give us an overview of
what we do here at Helping Hand, or of just the homes?
With the homes and the independent living in.
Yeah. So Helping Hand believes that there's all different kinds of people in the world, and they all need different levels of support. What we call it is self-sustaining, or that you're self-reliant. Everyone can become more self-reliant. Not everyone is going to be completely independent by themselves. And so when we set the goal of saying complete independence, there are some families and some clients that say, well, that'll never be me because I need a lot of support. And so what we have created is a self-reliant program that keeps moving people through growth in many different areas. Pillars like social, employment, health and wellness, which includes medication, going to the doctor, making sure they have money management. And when we say money management, we also think of it differently. It's not about understanding quarters and nickels and those kind of things, because we all have credit cards and we all now have Apple Pay and Amazon. But it's understanding how the system works, because now technology to purchasing, everything has changed. So you got to make sure you're very safe when you do that. And then finally is living on your own, where you can do most of your life just like everyone else does, with just very little support. So we do that. Even though people may be living with their family or living in one of our villas, we're still teaching that throughout all of our programs. It's been incredibly successful. Within 6 months, we're getting people that have never been able to get a job finally get a job, because we focus on specific things to move them forward, rather than electives all around. Oh, you got to have fun. Oh, you got to learn art. That's not going to help them get a job. They need to get this social skill fixed, or they need to have this technique or this fear worked on. And once we do that, then they can go back and do the arts and have fun.
Awesome. Yeah. So having a place to live or a place to live independently can also help with those independent skills.
Right. And then we have our homes that we've created to be not just traditional villas or regular homes, but they're teaching homes. The home itself helps teach individuals. It reminds them, make sure you turn the stove off. It reminds them when their medication is. It keeps them focused. So then if a person's not around to support them, they still can do it themselves.
Awesome. So you mentioned that you have some new models of your Helping Hand homes,
right?
In the Chicago suburbs, I believe.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about what the new models and how they support independence?
So one of the big things I've learned by being in the field is individuals that live in villas, if they become a risk to the agency, meaning they can fall, hurt themselves, or struggle going up and down stairs or whatnot, they may need new placement, which is disrupting their homes. And that's always on the parents' minds of what's going to happen to my child when somebody else is not there, when I'm not there to take care of them. And we've created the houses that all of them have to be ranches. So we've removed all of our stairs in all of our homes. We make sure
on one level.
On one level, correct. So it's one level living. So then there's no stairs, no risk. They could live long, which I say is almost forever with us. They each have their own bedroom. We don't do any shared bedrooms. They each share one full bath. So we don't have any 4 people in one bathroom. It's just 2 people into a full bath. There's 2 living spaces because people need to get away. This is something I've heard families say too, is there's too many people in the home. We need to get it down to 2 or 3 or 4. Well, state funding doesn't allow for that to be successful because it doesn't cover the cost of that. The economies of scale don't cover that. And so Helping Hand has learned that 6 beds breaks us even. 8 beds we can make money on. 6 beds is break even. Less than that, we're losing money. And the families have mentioned to me as well, that's not good. Nobody wants to live with 6 people. I think that's the wrong problem to solve. It's not how many people you live with, it's the space that you live in. Can I get away? Can I be on my own? Can I do the things I want to do? And so our homes are large enough where everyone could get away, and they don't even have to share space in that actual home because there's so much space there for them. Most of our clients, though, enjoy being with each other. So they are hanging out more anyways.
Yeah, awesome. Speaking of that one level, kind of a personal note, one of my sisters who I'll show you my niece and nephew.
Oh, cute. Look at he's dressed up too.
Yeah. Well, because my other sister got married. I won't show the listeners because we don't put pictures of my young kids
bow
online.
Tie on the guy. Yeah.
And so, but my one sister she now has 3 kids, full and under, full 2 and 3 months old. And so they they bought, I think, a piece of land that they're going to build like just one level. So kind of like
a ranch. Yeah.
Like a ranch. So it's kind of that same
concept.
Same concept. Even my sister is looking into
and then we have the full kitchen, and it's everything in the house is ADA accessible. ADA can be beautiful. It doesn't have to be industrial looking or institutional looking. And so our homes are one of the most beautiful homes you'll ever see.
So for particularly because this is the podcast, and we don't have time to show anything to our viewers, but do you guys have pictures online of?
Yes. If you go to our website, or if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn at Helping Hand Illinois, you'll see everything. It's amazing. Awesome. The amount of technology we put in the houses. There are screens in every room of our houses. So then the goals of the person is put on the screen, and it gives them reminders. It teaches them. It gives them things if they're learning how to make their bed better, they may click on something that is a tutorial that's made for them. And then we collect data on how often do they need it, and we see their progress.
Awesome. And so all of your homes have these
Correct.
Teachings. Awesome.
Yeah, it's a big movement we've had a while back. We do real well with staffing. I know we may get into that, but we're holding less than 8% turnover for the last 4 or 5 years now. But staffing is becoming more and more difficult in homes and also in support homes because we're not seeing a large amount of people who want to do this work, and the people that are doing the work are retiring.
Awesome. And I'm sure our listeners might be familiar with other organizations that might have independent living. So is this what makes the homes that Helping Hand offers unique to if a listener goes and whether it's a Misericordia or another organization, and if families are looking for their son or daughter in another, is this what
sets us apart?
Yeah, what sets you apart?
So first off, yes, the homes are incredibly gorgeous. We have a maintenance outsourced team that we use, and they've been at lots of organizations around, and they say our worst house is better than most best houses at other organizations. But it all comes down to people. If you can care about your employees and you can minimize turnover and show value for people that work there, then they do the same for the individuals in the homes. I believe that if you put people first, facilities and tools second, like IT, make sure it works so people's tools work, make sure the environment is a beautiful place to work and live, everything else follows, and then everyone else does well. This is the beginning. We've been working on a lot of independent living stuff for a while. This is just the beginning for us. We have a couple other projects of how to design condominiums in a certain way so people can live in a 1 or 2 bedroom condominium, because the economies of scale will work.
Awesome. And is it all the homes? Are they so right now we're sitting in the Helping Hand office,
main office,
the main office in Countryside. Can you share with our listeners where some of these homes, not the addresses, but kind of where they're located?
So we try to keep things close too. We don't expand just to expand. We're very methodical. We think of ourselves as Nordstrom. We don't want to be Walmart. We don't want to be everywhere. We want to make sure that people get high quality services here, which then takes time to grow. Mm-hmm. Our homes are in LaGrange, Western Springs, Brookfield area, and we're moving now into DuPage County. And so we're going to start, we've already done it, but we're going to start building more homes out in DuPage.
Awesome. So moving on, you mentioned about maintaining low DSP turnover. I'm not that familiar with DSP, so can you first define for our listeners what DSP is, and then how Helping Hand maintains low DSP turnover while delivering high quality care?
Sure. So DSP is direct support professionals. They are the people who do the real work every day here. They're the boots on the ground, the frontline staff that are making sure goals are being completed, making sure when someone's not feeling well that they're there for them to help them through that, keeping everything organized here. So Helping Hand has 300 employees, which is more than just DSPs. We have a lot of support staff like therapists and vocational counselors, behavioral team, management. DSPs currently, we don't have any openings in DSP. We have a waiting list of DSPs who want to work here. Mm-hmm. So people call us and say, can we work here? Because of what we do. And we're one of the top paid for DSPs. We give bonuses out to all of our DSPs, sometimes twice a year. When SNAP just happened, and because of the government shutdown, one of the things we did was we provided a bonus to our staff because we know some of them were affected by SNAP. So we made sure that we gave them a good amount of money so then they can have a good holiday season. Then we also cared for all of our clients' families and did extra stuff for them. I think if you're transparent, and our vision is people with disabilities being equally valued in the community, but all people should be equally valued in the community. And listening to staff, they usually have the best ideas. They know what they're doing, And it's my job to then eliminate the problems out there that hold us back and let them be free to do what they do. So staff is number one. Again, the good neighborhoods, pleasant place to work. The simplest thing is when you have to bathe someone that is a little bit more severe in their disabilities, that is not easy when you're in a traditional bathtub. It's very hard work for that staff. Their back hurts, workman comp goes up. So when we design our homes, we design them in mind of how does staff going to use this so it's easy on them to take care of someone with dignity. Our workman's comp has dropped dramatically, saves money. Unemployment claims drop, saves money. So all of those things we can throw back into the agency to help people.
Awesome. As we wrap up this inclusive housing topic, right behind the camera on the wall, underneath Helping Hand, it says transforming lives,
right?
Which and even on your coat zip, it says transforming lives. I'm sure by our listeners listening for the past 30 minutes probably can visually see how you are happening.
So our mission statement is transforming the lives of all connected to Helping Hand through genuine care and education. We don't specifically say transforming the lives of people with disabilities, because it's not just about transforming their lives. We get transformed. The community gets transformed. And it's our job to keep connecting to show the value that they have. Our tagline is transforming lives. If you're here at work, you will be transformed. I know my life has changed because of transforming, being around people with intellectual disabilities. I've become a better person. My wife has changed her career so she can start working with people with intellectual disabilities. Transforming lives is important to us.
Awesome. Yeah, it's definitely really powerful to not just talk about it, but to see in all the different ways, whether it's housing or jobs or with the school that you have. So
it releases parents, this mind, especially these young parents, because the young parents is moving towards the independence more. They have more services in school. They have more therapies in school, at home. And when I talk to parents, they say to me, I'm afraid of what's next for my child. And what I try to help them understand is, it takes 10 people to do to take care of their child, and there are only 1 or 2 people that do that. Yeah. We want them to become a parent again, to be a mom and a dad, not a caretaker, not a doctor, a nurse, an employee specialist, not all those other things. And so when they move in with us, the parent can become a parent again, and they feel safe, trusted, that we will be there 100% for their child.
Awesome. And finally, to wrap up this segment, you talk about what some of the biggest challenges and as well as the successes, because just like when we have others with disabilities on this podcast, we talk about the challenges that we have, but also the successes. So when it comes to the homes and the inclusive housing that Helping Hand offers to individuals with disabilities, what are some of the, and as well as you talked about being transparent, so what are some of the biggest challenges that you guys are dealing with right now, as well as the successes?
Illinois holds some unusual regulations that hold people with disabilities back. Location. You can't build houses or have houses next to each other, close to each other, with the same population living in them. That doesn't make sense to me, because I can move into neighborhoods that have all the same interests as I do. I can go wherever I want to go. There's no restriction. And I understand what they're trying to do is so that agencies don't build communities of just people with disabilities. But we have to be able to be a little more flexible, because if we're going to be in the community, we need to be able to find housing that is available. And it's already hard enough to find housing. I could place so many more people in housing right now, but there's not enough property. And when we do find property, the regulations hold us back from purchasing it because it could be too close. It's not in the right place, things like that. So that to me is one of the biggest when it comes to independence. Transportation is the other. There's not as many options for transportation. As you said, your dad got you here.
Yeah. And we were just talking about that before we went on air with Uber and Waymo. Those are the future, but Uber costs a lot of money. So an individual who's going to work, and regulations hold that back of how much money they can make every year so they don't lose their benefits. They may spend their whole check just driving back and forth from work because it's expensive. If you're using something like Pace, it's unpredictable. Yeah,
they don't
I use
show
Pace.
So they don't show up on time. They don't pick you up on time. That's hard to get a job when you're going to tell your employer, I may be 20 minutes late and I may need to leave 20 minutes early. It's a good, affordable transportation, but it's not as reliable. So something has to be created. When we get self-driving cars, I think that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Because then think about not just people with disabilities, but blind people, people with epilepsy, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. There's a disability and mental health podcast from the BBC that I listen to called Access All. And I don't listen every week, but some of the stories that they're talking about right now in the UK is with the self-driving cars. I don't know if in the UK if they have it available yet, but that kind of speaks to the same point that it opens up freedom
and definitely independence. The other thing that holds back is always funding. Even transportation, the state gives so little with transportation. That's why they're stuck using a bus or a PACE vehicle. And there are not a lot of buses around to help people with disabilities. And if you're in a wheelchair, well, that's a whole nother thing because you're not going to be able to get on a traditional bus. Funding, Helping Hand has embraced that funding will never be to the level of quality that we need. And so that's why we fundraise, much like you're doing, because it helps us reach quality and create special projects. We're doing a teaching kitchen. We're creating a kitchen that young people can use to learn how to cook
here in your main office.
In our main office. And it's about $1 million, $2.5 million kitchen because of the amount of things that need to be in it to teach people, to get jobs in culinary arts, also to teach our employees how to cook for their own self and become better at their job. But that's not funded anywhere near by the state. We have to fundraise for that.
Yeah, awesome. We're going to now switch gears over to high school transition and what fits into our Unified at Work series on Special Chronicles, which focuses on conversations about inclusive employment. And when we talk about high school transition programs and preparing students for employment, it was many years, like back when I had more hair, was when I was in high school, which was about 20 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
So
mine's longer. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So maybe I don't feel that old now, but
I'm probably 38 years ago. So
yeah. So, but with that, and I mean, it's I didn't go into a transition program because I went to college right after, but not that many of us with disabilities actually There's probably some more now, but back in 2008, there wasn't a lot of us that actually did.
Right.
And so, but I have friends who have gone through the high school transition program. And so talk a little bit about how Helping Hands high school transition program prepares these students for employment.
Excellent. First, for some context, our school works with 30-some school districts. And so when those individuals have a hard time in their traditional special ed, then they come to us, either because of maladaptive behavior, life skills that they need to learn, their communication is not there, things like that. So in perspective, our transition program are children that couldn't stay in their traditional transition program. Saying that, I am incredibly excited. For the first time, we're finishing our 70th year for Helping Hands. So we've been around for 70 years. And for the
awesome. I'll give it an applause.
Some class, thank you.
Yeah, an applause for that.
I wasn't here all those 70 years, so I didn't do all that. But the coolest thing that just happened in our transition program is we placed people into jobs. That has never happened. So thinking about that is these are individuals that had a tough time in their own special ed program, came to us, and now they're excelling so much that they're out in the community working. We have programs here where they work inside the school, so practicing, but they do get paid. We run a cafeteria that they actually go out and stock the cafeteria. They make the food, they deliver the food to everyone that's in our agency, and they're learning skills of how to be in restaurants and work in stores, stockers, things like that. Those things then led to our transition program saying, let's get them out into the community. And we do a lot of visits. And one of my favorite things that our school does is once a month, they bring in a professional. We just had airlines in here. We had government officials here. And so we had a pilot here. And I know you work for the airlines. And so
can you say which airline?
I can't. Oh. It may not be United.
Okay.
So I don't remember off the top of my head, but we set up one of the big rooms.
If you need any connections with
more pilots,
United Airlines,
all right,
I can get you guys connected.
We'll get you for the next round of that. Well, this pilot came in and our staff put this whole thing together where it looked like an airplane inside of our room. And the pilot then talked them through coming in with tickets. They got peanuts. They got all the stuff you would in a regular airplane. And they watched a screen as it took off. And the kids then learned how to be in an airplane, because a lot of them never even been in one. But then they learned all the jobs that involve with that. We have the wonderful police that come by here and teach the kids about public safety, and firemen that comes. So we're focused on what's out in the world more than basic things that some transition programs focus on.
Awesome. I wanted to touch briefly on the inclusive travel, since you brought it up.
Yeah.
I've developed an inclusive travel series on this podcast.
Just now, while we were sitting here?
No.
You do a lot. I was like, wow, this guy's busy.
No, not. We've developed it over the years, but most importantly, this past the beginning of the fall season.
Okay.
I part of my job, I volunteered with the Alka of Illinois.
The ARC.
They've got a
Samantha.
Samantha.
She's great.
She's been on this program too. But they partnered with United Airlines to bring their Wings for All event to United and to the airport.
That's so cool.
And so I just because of how powerful it was to and I helped out more on the United side.
Yeah.
But I had to have Samantha on, have one of our United pilots on, as well as another United employee on, and I did if our listeners go to specialchronicles.com/wings for all.
There she is with the captain's hat on.
Yeah. She made an announcement, and then
And there's you.
Yeah. And so, in fact, there was a story, and our listeners, if you go to specialchronicles.com/wings for all, you can see what we're looking at. But this episode with Samantha, and actually all three of the guests on this 3-part series talked about was there's a young boy who is I'm smiling, and I'll keep this story short, but there was so the Wings for All event, the families and the individuals boarded at one gate, and then they're trying to get it where in the future maybe they can take off and like fly like over the lake and then land, so to get practice
and make them feel comfortable,
to get a bigger experience. But this time we just taxied around the airport.
That's cool.
But this one boy, he didn't want to board the plane. Like he was scared to board. And so after when we got back and everybody deplaned, Captain Tate came off and talked to him, and I took this picture that United, at least internally, we've got like an employee website. United Airlines has shared that picture that I took to all the employees, because it shows how even though he didn't take part in like when we were actually on the plane,
but he tried,
and hopefully he'll come back next year and be part of the whole experience.
That's our mission, man.
But he like this picture, like he embraced the captain, and like and that's so when you were talking about the experience that you had, it made me think of this wings.
It's connection, right? And it's genuine care and education. That pilot is giving genuine care. He actually, from his heart, he's caring about him, and he's educating about life in general.
Yeah.
So that's our mission in action, and we weren't even involved. But that's fine with us.
Yeah.
We're trying to change the world, man, and that's important.
Are you familiar with the Wings for All?
Yes, event? I read the article that I saw Samantha's interview.
Yeah. So and maybe I don't know if there's a way of how Helping Hand can, but maybe talk with Samantha and see if
I will
with the Elk and Helping Hand and United Airlines, see how we can. But I know I think there was a wait list of families to be part of this event, and even now among employees, now more employees want to be part to help because when we talk about it in inclusion, just like we talked about homes and what we're talking about jobs right now, but travel is another part that we've and I think Samantha even talked about this, that they've heard from so many families who like this was one family who they weren't able to go back to India to visit family because of their son, and now because they had this experience, they now have the tools to be able to and they experience to be able to travel.
Connecting with an organization who can bring their therapist in and set the tone too, because fear is different for everybody, and how do we work our way through that so then it releases them and sets them free?
Absolutely. So maybe that's something that and I'll have to get you connected with. I was asked to join the for the past about 4 years, I've been on the disability business resource group, but now I'm giving some other people a chance, and so. But they asked me to join the United's Travel Accessibility Board, which is people in our disability community who is helping United to be the most accessible and inclusive airline. And so, but maybe I'll have to get you connected with some people at United and see if even with this Wings for All event or just anything to see if we can get.
Well, it sounds like they're thinking innovatively too, and so that's what we do.
Yeah.
And together, who knows? We could be chocolate and peanut butter and make Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Sponsored by Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yes. Well, if Reese's is listening,
send money now.
Yes. So as I mentioned, and as a long-time listeners will know, the Unified at Work series that we have focuses on conversations about inclusive employment. We've had 6 seasons of that series. I started that series when Special Olympics and United Airlines got together, and I was one of the first 4 athletes that United hired.
Awesome.
And so, like our uniform is co-branded, and so I created this Unified at Work series. Because I wanted to chronicle the experience of my inclusive employment because it's something in a lot of the job skills classes that I had. It was not something like working for a major airline or in aviation was not something that I was told was possible. So one, I wanted to chronicle and document that
it is possible.
Chronicle that. It is possible. So with that, can you kind of build upon and I think the comment on LinkedIn that brought us back to have you back on was, I think around I had posted about my 6-year anniversary.
Yes.
And so
at
United Airlines. Yeah. Special Chronicles,
a lot
longer, but at United Airlines. So building upon what I just shared, talk about why inclusive employment is so important.
So in my career now with people with disabilities, that has been a big focus of mine is employment. That's that sustainable purpose. We all have some reason that we wake up in the morning, and a lot of times it has to do with work. And you're bringing value to a company. When we think about people with disabilities, we go, oh yeah, they're a bagger at the grocery store or a sweeper at McDonald's. And that is in my mind is great that it's happening, but it is the first level of inclusion. It is just the beginning points. Because if you ask a goldfish to climb a tree and say, well, it's not very good at it, you're not seeing the skill sets that it has. And so when we just say to somebody, sweep, because that's all you're capable of, rather than getting to know them and find out what their true value is, you're going to miss out. Companies can make money with people with disabilities working for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like they do with everybody.
Yeah.
You're not a charity to hire. You are a valuable piece to that company, and keeping that focus is important. An organization I worked at prior to here, I created a career focused day program and job training. And so when I came to Helping Hand, we started doing the same thing and then started using technology to help with that. The difference is we are out in the community actually learning. We have some great partnerships like NICO and Dynamic that hire people with disabilities. And they then progress through their career there. They don't just stay at one place forever. Mm-hmm. We assess first what needs to be worked on. What is holding someone back? And then we also work with companies, lots of companies, to help them understand if someone doesn't communicate 100% well, but the job doesn't involve communication, it's okay, they get the job. And sometimes they're stopped from getting the job because they can't communicate. And that's not right. We move on then to training skill sets. What are they good at? What are they capable of doing? We do not have sheltered workshops here. We don't do anything like that. Everything is out in competitive employment or volunteering. The more people that companies that see that's value, the more people we can place. I'm telling you, they lower your turnover, they raise your productivity, and they improve your culture. That's facts.
Awesome. I want to speak to what you said about how hiring, when companies hire those of us with disabilities, not just for charity, but how it's good for business. Just the end of October, as you know, October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and so I went down to United Airlines Global Headquarters in Chicago, and I did a live podcast just for United employees. The podcast was up the Monday of the next week. Even though my sister got married that weekend, that was busy. It was a quick turnaround, which is not. I've got a little bit more of a turnaround with this podcast.
Good. You're not rushing out.
No, but I sat down with United's Chief Customer Officer and Senior Vice President of Airport Operations.
Awesome.
You can see where that were on the table, and then
You're just meeting all the big dogs.
Yeah, and something, and our listeners again can go back. That was actually that was released like the day
in October.
Yeah, in October. The week of my 6-year anniversary. Okay. So this can go back in October. So just a couple months ago.
Okay.
And
after they watch this one.
Yes. After you watch or listen to this one. But something that David talked about how, and he really highlighted your point. And so it's good to see that even leaders of big companies are recognizing this, that our job title is service ambassador. So for Special Olympics athletes. And in fact, a friend of mine just in New York, in the NOAA Club, just texted me and said that he got hired. I recommended him to a VP.
Very cool.
I recommended another friend in Denver, so I've now recommended two.
Hopefully, they give you a little kickback.
Yeah,
for that.
I know. I need to talk to my manager.
Yes.
So if my manager is listening to this,
if you get the kickback, you'll take him to lunch.
Yes, I will. And so with that, something that David Kingsman at United Airlines had talked about, how he highlighted that point of that we won't just hire just for charity, but we help out a lot with the operation of the airline in the airport because we're in the airport.
You're providing value.
And that's something. Even sometimes like. Because a lot of what you see is like the customer service agents, and you see, and sometimes even myself sometimes gets frustrated that we don't help out with any ticketing issues or any of that.
Yeah. But
something that he recommended that I'm gonna remember is we really do help out with the overall airport operation, and they've got this NPS score, which is like how people feel about the airline. And so there really is a lot of with the caring and kindness that,
and you're connecting with people
and connecting people. And so, yeah.
So we walk the walk here.
Yeah.
You know, we've had special ed teachers that actually are in our school working that had received services when they were children here.
The teachers
received it when they were children, and now they work for us as special ed teachers. We have a professor with cerebral palsy who understands everything about history, and we've hired him to work in our adult day program teaching history. We have front office staff with disabilities here. We have DSPs with disabilities that work here. So everywhere around here, we walk the walk to make sure,
including yourself,
including myself. Yeah. They hired me.
Yeah.
You know, they were able to give me a chance with severe dyslexia. Yeah.
Awesome. So bringing that back to Helping Hand, how can people with disabilities, how can we pursue all types of jobs and careers, not just the traditional ones that people like, which I'm sure there's probably there's nothing wrong with working in a grocery store, but like a lot of those typical jobs that, whether it's a job skills class that we have in high school or a transition program or the employment services at Helping Hand, like I went through the job club. I think it's
career club is
the
what
career
we
club.
have. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so how can those of us with disabilities pursue all types of jobs and careers, not just the typical ones that transition programs or
so really looking about what you like to do first, and then what you're good at doing, and then start pursuing or in researching different types of jobs. Don't settle. Everyone has to start somewhere, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so you may start as a bagger, but I don't think you should stop there if you want to do more.
Yeah.
And I mean, I started as a bagger when I was a kid, and pursue the next level. Be curious about what else is out there to do. Talk to other people in the jobs that you want. You could come to here to Helping Hand, and we'll help you learn new jobs.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a cashier at some point, or somebody who wants to do marketing, we can help them with that. We just placed a guy.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about a story
about the hospital one.
Well, no, just any story.
Any story.
Yeah.
So this guy has worked in a few hospitals. He sets up the surgeon's room before surgery, and he's also a surgeon's assistant. So when they say scalpel, he hands it to him. And he was struggling because of how he was communicating. He knew very well all the rules of the operation. And so when the doctor would do something, he would say they were wrong or right. Well, doctors don't like that. Surgeons don't like that. And so when he came to us, we taught him a little bit better how to communicate, softened him up a little bit. And now he was wanted by multiple hospitals because he is so good at accuracy and making sure that people's health is number one. Awesome. So he just got placed in a job there. That's not a bagger.
Yeah.
That's somebody who's saving lives.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. That's a powerful story. Is there another quick, powerful story of either whether it's a student or an adult, like you just shared, who are thriving in inclusive workplaces because of going through the employment services at Helping Hand?
Yeah. So one person that we placed into a warehouse. So you get an order like Amazon, and then it says put these things in the bag and what have you. And so when he went for the interview, with our support, we were trying to encourage the company to hire him, and they said, "Well, let's see if he can be at the speed that we set it as." And so they told him how to do it, and he did it, and go, boom, right on time. Did everything everyone else did as fast as they did. And our support worker then said, "Well, why don't you ask him to do it as fast as he can without errors?" And he almost doubled the speed of a traditional worker. Mm-hmm. That person was hired immediately because of that. And when he was hired, the culture changed. That increased how everyone else worked. Because when he came into work, he was like, "This is the best day ever. I love coming to work." Yeah. You know how hard it is to find a job? And everyone else around him took that for granted. And they started seeing, you're right, it is a good place to work. And I think kindness and non-judgmental, you see a lot of that in people with disabilities, is they're appreciative and they enjoy the relationship. And so then it inspires the rest of us to see goodness in others too.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. I also a few years ago sat down with the not the Cohen CEO of United Airlines, but the former chairman and CEO, and because he came out with a book and he asked me to come back on the podcast, and there was a few core values at United, and one of them is caring, and he talked about like that special athletes, those of us with disabilities, bring caring, and and
because you have
to
patience.
yeah.
You're working through the world in a very different way, and so then you see different values. You don't rush through a relationship because you understand how hard and precious it is, and you don't rush through a project that and make mistakes because you're in the moment and you're seeing the importance of what you're doing.
Yeah, and a lot of times when I go out and speak, I talk about a lot is from the challenges, the only challenges that I had growing up, and a lot of that caring comes from because everybody from my parents to the doctors and the occupational therapists, that I had growing up, that caring and kindness that they showed, that's also and so I think that speaks to your point of what we bring to the workforce.
I think not everybody, because some of them are jerks.
Yeah.
Just like all regular people. That's the whole thing, is that when I think about what can I do to help people with intellectual disabilities, you're actually talking about the many facets of just humankind.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just pigeonhole people with disabilities and say this is how they are, or this is how they act, or this, because there's so many different kinds of people.
Yeah.
But I do agree that because you've lived a life of people caring for you, you're more likely to care about others. And I think that's a lesson we could all learn. If we care more about other people, all of us are going to be more caring of people.
Absolutely. So we're going to wrap up with one final segment because we're a little bit over in all, but
again,
again, I know, but this time I don't think we're going to break it up into two part, because not a lot of people will listen to two parts.
You do you, whatever you want.
Yeah, we're going to probably just keep
You're the expert.
We're going to keep this into, and it's less production work on my end afterwards.
Okay.
To keep it all into one part, because the good thing about a podcast, as you know, is people can pause and
you're right,
and listen at any time.
Right.
And so with that, building upon your personal journey and your vision for Helping Hand, share with our listeners some of the lessons learned from your prior work, which you touched on a little bit, and the impact of inclusive housing, inclusive employment on the community, and then how the organizations and families that you serve support the independence and choice for people with disabilities.
I think lesson learned is you got to listen more. Just when you felt like you listened enough, you have to listen more. And I think that goes for all of us. It's the families listening to organizations. It's the organizations listening to families, companies listening to us and us to them, getting the whole community together. Because if we can work together and see that, well, I can only do it this way, but this is what you want, we can create new things. And so listening has been my biggest journey of all the answers of what's next in the world come from being together and talking. Listening to you, listening to your podcasts have helped me think through and put together a jigsaw puzzle of what's the next service? How do we create that? Other lessons learned is that if you have a good mission and you're genuine, you will find funding to continue on what you do. People will join you. You don't have to force it. You don't have to demand it, that people donate money to you because we're the only opportunity in town. We work with so many people who have no money, and we give them high quality too. Yeah. And so money will come, people will see the fundraising need, and it'll happen. Yeah. I think that's, those are the two big ones.
Awesome. We got a few final takeaways that if there are families that are listening to the podcast today that are looking for inclusive housing options for their son or daughter with intellectual and developmental disabilities, share with them and whether they're watching or if they're just listening on audio. So I was going to say speak to the camera, but you can speak to the microphone.
To the microphone too.
And share practical advice for these families looking for inclusive housing options.
Well, build a relationship early with organizations that you believe in. Not just the house itself, but make sure that you check out the staff. What is their turnover? What is the culture like of the place that your loved one's going to be at? Are they willing to listen to you and work with you? I think that's important. But it's your future. We are all different. Every organization is different. You shouldn't have to pay to play. I'll say that too. Parents get nervous if they don't have enough money. Some of the best agencies around have nothing to do with donations. It's just come to us, and if we can help you and it's a good fit, we will do that. Currently, I don't recommend doing it on your own. I've heard parents say, well, I'm going to buy a house, or I'm going to do this that way and that way. It is very complicated in the state of Illinois to do that. And if you're going to get state licensed, it's going to take your whole life to do that. You need to find an agency that can help make your dreams come true. Like
Helping Hand.
Exactly, like Helping Hand.
And then to sum up all inclusive employment, inclusive jobs topic, speak now directly to employers, because this podcast will also, in addition to being on specialchronicles.com and Apple, also be shared on LinkedIn as well. So speak to employers of how can employers implement inclusive hiring practices.
Start with the opportunity first, not the thought process of if this person has to be let go or if this person causes a problem. We don't think that way with regular traditional hiring. Don't think that way with intellectual disabilities. Make sure that you give them the opportunity to express themselves and show their value. Sometimes it doesn't work in a traditional interview process, and you're missing an opportunity when you do that. Open your minds up, try something new, and watch how your company can really excel.
Awesome. I love that. And before we get to the two final questions as we wrap up, share with our listeners on ways that they can get involved and support Helping Hand. I know we are recording this the week of Thanksgiving, but this episode is going to air in the beginning, in the middle of December. So it'll be after Giving Tuesday, but not. It's
okay.
But there's still time for the year-end
always
giving.
Good for annual appeal.
Yes. And so after you support this podcast, Special Chronicles, go and support Helping Hand. And
Thank you.
Share with our listeners how they can get involved with Helping Hand and support.
So, going to our website at www.helpinghand, that's one word, -il.org, you'll see a lot of opportunities to volunteer and get connected to us. We have an associate board, which are young professionals that want to do good and come back with us. We have a next gen board, which are high schoolers who want to get involved, get community service hours, and anybody else who wants to volunteer. There's plenty to do here to get you caring about us, feeling the mission. You can be part of our school, our clinic, our administration. The last is donate. If you donate to us, it helps us get our projects done. It helps us stay high quality so we can make the needs of everyone we serve, including people who are trying to get independent living arrangements.
Awesome. And I'll add to that, in addition to what we talked about on the wall, right behind the camera, transforming lives, but above the window that is just off camera, there's a reason why the pictures are but a background, but there was also backlight with window. But above that, equally valued in all communities. I think that also kind of
that's who we are. Up. That's our vision. Equally valued in all communities. And we're moving past inclusion. Inclusion is a word that we've been saying for a very long time. And I think it's incredibly important, but we need to go past that and see the value. So when somebody is not there at the table, we miss them. we want them there. It's the individualness of them. So we're trying to push the world to think further past inclusion.
Awesome. So do you have any, before we get to the final question, that when it come back to what you just said, because I loved how you talked about inclusion. So we'll come back to leave our listeners on that. But do you have any, this is now your second time on the program. It's hopefully it won't be another 5 years.
Right. That would be great.
But do you have any final thoughts on now this being your second time
you
on?
became better looking.
Maybe a little bit less hair.
Mine turned a lot grayer, that's for sure. I love this, Daniel. I loved it the first time. I think it's so much fun to have conversations with you because of the way you think and process. I love that I get to connect with your audience, and then I get to share my audience with you. So I think it helps both of us just keep pushing at the mission we're trying to accomplish, and that's beyond inclusion. It's seeing the value. It's hiring people with disabilities, giving them an opportunity to spread their wings and live on their own and be who they want to be. And maybe you'll get married soon.
Yes.
Oh, I threw it there.
Yeah.
We'll see if she's listening.
Yeah, and we'll see if our listeners will comment and
they're going to make a lot of clap hands and celebration emojis.
And like those emojis in the comments. Yeah. Well, maybe then the next time we'll come on, we'll
add to that story.
Yeah, maybe we'll add to that story. So with that, I got one final question, and we've got a bumper. So let's go ahead and roll the bumper and introduce that final question.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising. Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference.
Difference.
Our demands are
equality,
Dignity,
and the recognition of our
shared humanity. We will not stop
or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
more divided than ever. And coming together has never been more urgent.
You feel it on
the revolution
It's all right.
inclusion. Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
And with that,
Mic's on?
yes, the mic.
Right.
Yes.
All right.
Good point. 'Cause sometimes,
Sorry, I don't know.
No, sometimes I do forget to unmute. We of course want our listeners to listen to the conversation because there's a lot of takeaways. But ever since I came back from the 2019 Special Olympics World Games in Abu Dhabi, I've been asking one final question that we want our listeners to learn from the conversations today and to bring inclusion into their communities and to to take action. And something that you just mentioned a little bit earlier is when we're coming into this beyond inclusion, and some maybe use. I mean, I never want to tell the guests on how to answer this question, but only because what you said is powerful, and I think is probably how you're going to answer this. But you can answer this in a completely different way if you want.
I'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So, because this is a good call to action for listeners to bring inclusion into their communities, into their workplaces, into their schools, jobs, towns, countries. I said countries because of our previous guest.
Yeah, that's okay.
Anyways,
everywhere, you're right.
It still applies with helping hand, I think. Anyways, what does inclusion mean to you?
Wow, I was going to just answer quickly, and then my mind said, think through that. And inclusion is the beginning stages. Inclusion is where people we don't necessarily involve in our lives starts. So think about people of color. They had to be included at some point. Women had to be included at some point. All of those things happen during inclusion because you sort of had to force it so then people can see their value. We're still talking about including people with disabilities in everything. And to me, we should be beyond that. We should have already seen the value they have. We should already recognize the importance of them being here with us. They're different in a good way, which makes all of us better. I really want, if you haven't started with inclusion, if you haven't started where we were, I don't know, in the 80s when we started talking about this, you need to start now.
Mm-hmm.
Work on saying hi to someone with a disability, having a conversation with them, asking them questions, being patient for their answer, because there's more going on in their head than maybe how they communicate it. And if you rush through their interaction, you're missing something. Hurry up and catch up with the rest of us who see how much value they bring.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a perfect way to wrap up this conversation, and also the previous conversations on the program that sums up how Helping Hand is transforming lives, how we're equally valued in all communities. And so thank you again, Bill, for joining us on this episode
Thank you, Daniel.
of Special Chronicles. Awesome. A huge thank you again to Bill for sharing your insights on inclusive housing and independent living and preparing the next generation for meaningful employment. I'm sure that the next time we'll have to come up with another couple topics, but
we'll always have something new here.
We'll always. So anytime that you have anything new on to share with our listeners, you're always welcome to come back on the program.
And I'm also thinking I may have some clients who want to do this with you.
Oh yeah,
because there's some of my guys who have some great ideas.
Yeah. So let's talk about that off air, and we'll definitely have to. Now that I created a page on our website for this series, we'll have to add to that, and so in addition to you sharing some of the client stories, we'll have to, because that's a big part about what we do at Special Chronicles, is sharing these firsthand stories.
I would love it, and some of them they want to get into the career you're in.
Yeah.
So this could be fun.
Awesome. Yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah. So stay tuned to this program. We remember Special Chronicles needs your help. You can support the Special Chronicles 2026 Giving campaign to help us keep producing weekly episodes and amplifying the stories that matter. Give now at specialchronicles.com/give. Yeah, right where Bill is pointing. If you're watching us on video right now, scan that QR code, and then once you scan that, then click on donate. Yeah,
I know I'm going to do it.
Yeah, yes. And so do that. And while you're at that, follow the Special Chronicles podcast on specialchronicles.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Every bit helps us grow the inclusion revolution. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Special Chronicles podcast. I believe next week, it's the end of the year, so I think it's our best of episode.
Oh, that'd be fun.
So stay tuned for that, and we'll cut you out next week on specialchronicles.com. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles podcast. Our podcast was produced by Daniel Smrokowski on the Special Chronicles Network. Follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Subscribe, rate, and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Our website, specialchronicles.com, where you can stream our archives of over 500 episodes absolutely for free. Also, there's a list of our favorites, original series, award-winning columns, and blogs. And sign up for our newsletter to receive exclusive bonus content delivered to your inbox. Again, specialchronicles.com. Special Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard. Thanks as always to our business manager, Daniel Smrokowski, who always encourages us to never give up. I'm Daniel Smrokowski, back next week with more stories.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.